Hello and welcome to the Lund University International Podcast. On the show, you'll hear from current students, alumni, researchers, professors, and many more special guests as we explore what it's really like to live, study, and work at Lund University in Sweden, a world top 100 university. My name is Tim Parker, and I am an international communications officer at External Relations. Lund University is home to some of the world's leading research facilities, and in this episode, we're shining a spotlight on one of them, the remarkable MAX4 laboratory. MAX4 is a Swedish national laboratory hosted by Lund University, which provides scientists with the most brilliant X-rays for cutting-edge research. Officially inaugurated on 21st of June 2016 in the presence of Swedish King His Majesty Carl Gustaf XVI and the former Swedish Prime Minister Stefan Löfven, this world-class facility is a hub for groundbreaking discoveries in materials and life sciences. MAX4 plays a pivotal role in advancing science on a global scale. Tune in as we delve into the incredible work being done at MAX4, explore its impact on research, and uncover what makes it such a unique asset to Lund University and beyond. And today, with us, we have two guests from the MAX4 laboratory. Welcome into the studio.
Thank you very much.
Please introduce yourself.
So my name is Marjolein Thunnissen. I'm a life science coordinator at MAX4, working with life science in general and many other things, really trying to do outreach on what we can do, what we need for these researchers to be able to do their work. And that's about it.
Nice to meet you. And I'm detecting an accent which might not be Swedish.
That's true. I come from the Netherlands.
Fantastic.
So I've been in Lund since 2001, working at the start at the predecessor of MAX4, MaxLab. And I have been in Sweden for now almost exactly 30 years.
Oh, wow. That's nice to hear. And I mean, one of the highest group of international students that we have in Lund are students from the Netherlands. So it's inspiring to see that we have researchers and staff in Lund as well from the Netherlands. And we have another guest today as well.
Yes, my name is Magnus Larsson. I am a group manager for a group called Access and Collaborations. And I'm also heading our industrial relations office, working with our industry users at MAX4.
Fantastic. Thank you both for coming in today.
Thank you.
First of all, could one of you provide an introduction to MAX4 for our listeners?
Yes, so we are actually a research infrastructure. So the thing that we do is that we give instruments that other researchers can use to do their research. So we don't do a lot of research ourselves, but we do supply researchers with high-end instruments to do research. And the main product that we give to our users is light. And it can be light from infrared all the way to hard X-rays. And that is what we really do.
Yeah, I mean, we really are an infrastructure. It's not like we have an infrastructure. We are a research infrastructure itself. And I think that's really the central part of it.
It's the core of our business. We have about 1,800 researchers per year that come in to do research. And we really support these researchers to do what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's scientists from all over the world. So maybe, half of them from Sweden and many from neighboring countries, Denmark, Finland, Estonia.
But as far away as New Zealand.
But as far away as New Zealand and Asia. So
I get further away than that.
all over the world.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So was this within a university environment that researchers you're collaborating with, or is it within industry as well?
Well, I mean, it's both. So the main bulk of our users, and that's really like 98% of our users, are academic users. So scientists doing a PhD or a postdoc at the university somewhere.
Yeah.
And they come here and perform an experiment over a few days or a week. Yeah. And but we also have quite a few in companies coming here, an increasing amount of companies finding their ways and using the tools available at MAX4.
Okay, so coming to Lund and to the Max4 laboratory is a larger process where researchers apply through?
Yes, so researchers need to apply for what we call beam time. So this is a process that you write a proposal, you get into contact with us, you write a proposal, the proposal is reviewed, and then judged on scientific merit, you get priority or not. So it is, you need to make a proposal. We are very willing to help. We always say to our users, contact us, because it will make your proposal better. So this is a part of an important part of our job, to really make it possible for people to come.
And maybe we can say a little bit about the facility itself. I mean, we're almost 300 people working at Max4 today. And we have one part of the facility is scientists working at these experimental stations. And we have 16 of those today, where you can perform different types of experiments, mainly using X-rays to study matter in various ways. And these scientists help you during your experiment when you come here and do your measurements.
So are there any researchers based at Max4?
Yes, many of us have a research background and are still really involved in research, because giving other researchers access to such highly developed instruments is something that you need to do with a research background. So it is actually quite important to understand that even if you work as an infrastructure, you still can be a scientist and you support scientists. So it is maybe not exactly the normal career development, but it is still a very important part of being a scientist.
Yeah.
So yes.
I mean, there's a lot of scientists working at Max4, but Max4 is not built for them. It's built for the greater user community.
Yes. But you need the scientific background to really support other scientists and to develop the methods that we are using and the instruments and, and also actually to do the outreach that we need to do.
Because there's so many different research disciplines that use Max4. I mean, it's everything: food science, atmospheric science,
medical research,
cultural heritage.
And then also real deep physics, as I call it.
Yeah, quantum physics.
Yeah.
So it's everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have this, we call it the users, the scientists that comes to Max4 and use the facility for their research. And we have these user communities coming. And Marjolein said 1,800. I think we're aiming for almost 2,000 this year. I think different scientists and researchers coming, visiting Max4, spending a few days there. And they come from all over. So there's constantly a buzz of people spending time at Max4, arriving with their hopes of doing a lot of exciting science and bringing their materials and setups and setting up their experiments and then spending time there. And it's a good opportunity to meet other disciplines, scientists from other disciplines in the coffee room.
I think that's a very important point. It's not only multinational, it's also very interdisciplinary. So we have researchers that come from very different backgrounds, but even in our staff, we have very many different people around, from highly trained IT people to accelerator physicists. And we need them all to do it. So it's in that sense, it's also a very exciting place to work.
And I'm just also thinking now, for our listeners who don't know, the actual laboratory is very large, very impressive facility, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Please tell us about it.
Yes. The building is actually quite special. It has won a number of prizes, architecture prizes, but also it was one of the first buildings that is really completely green certified. So we have done a lot of work on sustainability and building it in a clever way. And it is a very beautiful building. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
I can confirm.
It looks a bit special. My daughter, when she was younger, she called it the hamburger place. It kind of looks like a donut with intersected with a box.
A little bit like the Enterprise with the
silver donut.
Yeah.
And this question that I'm about to ask almost feels like an existential question. But who are the stakeholders of MAX4?
Well, I would almost say the whole research community and innovation community, because it is so broad. I mean, because we are giving so many benefits to so many different people, it is really, in that sense, a national infrastructure. So it's not like there is one group of stakeholders. And of course, you can talk on many different levels also. We have our founders, we have our people that give our budget, Lund University, researchers. All these people are our stakeholders.
Yeah, and if you just look at who it's for, we're talking a lot about all these different academic disciplines, but we also have a lot of companies coming there, and especially for pharmaceutical industry in the early drug discovery phase, they have basically kicked out their in-house machines and they just use synchrotrons, and this is a sort of an essential part of their value chain. So they, on a regular basis, send samples to MAX4. We load them up, and they actually don't need to come here anymore because they've been part of developing it so that they can access it remotely, and they get access and start collecting data on their protein crystals. And why they need that is because they need to find how are these pharmaceutical components or binding into the proteins. And Marjolein, you should tell more about that because that's your special field.
Yeah, this is my background. So proteins are, of course, one of the main components of our body, and more than 80% of all drugs that are on the market nowadays, they bind to proteins. To understand how these bind can give you very much information for the development of new drugs. So it's really that information that we can give. How do these drugs bind to these important molecules in our bodies?
Yeah. So MAX4 is a sort of a essential step in the drug discovery or drug development chain for some of the companies.
Great. And that does lead us into the next question about what kind of research is taking place at MAX4. And you mentioned some aspects now, and you touched on it a little bit before, but you two are the experts. Please tell us.
So as we already said, it's very, very broad. So we can look into things like how does iron work in the environment? People have seen browning in lakes, for example. What are the processes that are going on there? We can study that. We can study new catalysts. We have a lot of research doing with battery research. How can we get better batteries that are less poisonous, longer holding, and so on and so forth? Solar cell research, but then also really fundamental research like looking at new quantum systems or looking at how cellulose can be used for different things than just paper.
Yeah,
it is very, very broad.
If I just dive into some other industry example, I mean, there's one interesting that I think is waste incineration.
Yeah,
doesn't sound so interesting, but
it is.
We do a lot of waste incineration. We burn garbage basically, and we get the ashes, and the ashes contains a lot of different chemicals and components, especially metals bind in different ways, and how these metals are bind determines if these ashes are potentially poisonous or if they're not. And and if they are stable and not poisonous, then this is something that can be used as a material in another process. If it's poisonous, you have to put it as a deposit, and then it's a cost. So for these organizations who handle this, they can get information that can determine if what they are facing is a cost or a value that they can use. So with knowledge, you can make this change.
And that is actually quite an interesting project because It started small, and now there are actually 2 PhD students working on ashes.
Together with companies.
Yeah, together with companies, one in Lund and one in Umeå. So it is, there we actually really played a kind of a role to bring people together.
That's very interesting. Mm-hmm.
And without sharing too many trade secrets and keeping your answer within the scope of what a non-expert could understand, how is the research conducted?
Should I give it a try now? Because I'm not
you are not as far into it.
I'm not as far into it because I've never been a user actually using the facility as a scientist.
I have been a user.
Okay. Well, so in principle, you apply for access, as we talked about. You figure out that one of the experimental techniques that are available at Max 4 should be able to solve some piece in the puzzle of your research. And then you apply for access, and you're eventually granted a time slot of, say, a week. And then you have to prepare your experiment well in advance and talk to the beamline scientist working at Max 4. And you come here with your samples, and usually you come with the whole research group, not just as alone, because you get access 24-hour day. I mean, if you get for a week, it means 6 days, 24-hour
shift work,
and you can do science in shift.
Okay.
So you come here, the beamline staff helped you to set up things, where you should put your samples, how you should exchange samples. They do safety, because we are talking about X-rays that are really potentially dangerous to you. So there's a lot of safety concerns. So the experiment is taking place in a safe way. And then you learn how to start your measurements. And how does that take place? Well, you have one room where you set up the experiment. And that room is usually in a lead cabinet if it's high energy X-rays. So it's a room with leaden walls. And then you have a certain way of looking into, so no one is left behind. And then when you close the door, it's locked. And after that, then you can turn on the X-rays. And you do that from a control room. So then you sit in a control room in front of a lot of computer screens, and you open up, or you can send X-rays onto your sample, and then it hits your sample and the detector, and you get a signal out. And then it depends on, of course, what kind of signals you're aiming for. If you're looking for a tomography 3D image of your sample, or if you're interested more in the chemistry, or if there's something about the nanostructure. And then you got a lot of research data. Then in the end, you and your research groups come home with, sometimes terabytes of research data that you can spend the rest of your PhD analyzing.
Yeah.
All right. What are some recent research highlights?
Well, actually, I just saw about a week ago, we got a very nice paper on lung tissue, where people actually have looked at fibrosis. So you look at healthy lungs, and you look at diseased lungs, and you look at the role of certain metals. And this is very, very recent. It just got published on the 7th of February. But it is really showing that many people think we only do physics. But this is actually one of these examples where we show that we can give insights in disease and in medicine. So I think this is one of really a very nice example of research that can be done at Max 4. And it's very recent.
Yeah, I don't know what to pick. Well, another industry example then was when Lantmännen, a Swedish company working in the food industry with the cereals, they were there.
Cool.
And they were looking at bran, the fiber part, and how to turn that into, of course, it's healthy. There's a lot of fibers in there, but, we're like, I don't want to eat fibery food. I want it to taste good also and have a good mouthfeel. So then they were doing some research together with researchers from KTH, the Royal Institute, the Royal School of Technology in Stockholm, on trying to understand more about the structure of bran and how they can modify that to, have a better taste and mouthfeel and so on. That's another
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
And not initially what I thought the type of research that was being conducted, as you said.
No, many people do think that we mainly do physics. And we do. And one example there is that I think it was in Nature that every year has a top 10 of the trends in science. And one of these trends was ultramagnetism. Actually, Max 4 was one of the first places where this was shown. So that is another example of really high-edge fundamental science that has been done at Max 4. So we do very many different things. I should also say we have a website on which we try to publish news and also recent science news. So if you're really interested, come to Max4 at alu.se, because there are news stories there on the research that we do, and also a lot more information than just that.
So are there any opportunities for students or international students to be involved at Max4?
Well, we are not really an education institute, so we don't give education in that sense. We are involved in some training, and we are involved in some of the courses, especially at master student level, but it depends a little bit on what you study. So yes and no. For PhD students, of course, we do more. And there we even are a coordinator for a Marie Curie co-fund PhD school. So we are interested, but it's not our core business.
And finally, what's your favorite aspect of working at the Max4 laboratory?
I mean, it's a really cool place. That's what really attracted me. I've been working in industry before, and when I was looking for a new position, and I saw these things going on with Max4 and ESS and these really high-level scientific facilities popping up here in Lund, I felt I really want to be part of that, not just on a spectator. I want to be in and poke in there, and it still is. It's still very cool, and I think this whole multidisciplinary part of it, that is a meeting point of so many different types of science and research and industry activities. It's that really what still makes me really love this place.
Yeah, I have been working since 2001 in this environment, and for me it was really the multidisciplinary aspect. The fact that you could in the morning meet a doctor, in the afternoon an astrophysicist, and then just before you go home an IT person. And you see all these different people with different backgrounds trying to work kind of towards the same thing. The other thing that I really like about working at an infrastructure, and this is maybe a bit of an odd one, is that it's really team-based. It's not so much the individual researcher that becomes the big driving force at the synchrotron. It's rather that the team really produces what we need to produce for science. And that aspect, that it's really teamwork, that I appreciate very much.
Agree on that.
Thank you both so much for coming in today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Lund University International Podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Lund University, you can go to our website, lunduniversity.alu.se. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. And you can connect with our amazing student ambassadors on Unibuddy. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to bringing you a new episode very soon.